Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be Love Cannot Exist Without Trust. Well, I've got 4 emails that I'm going to go through with you today. But before we get into it, I got a quote I'd like to share with you. And it says, when it comes to all types of relationships such as romantic, business, friendships, teammates, military, etc., you must be able to trust the other party. If you can't trust the other people who you are in relationship with, there can be no comfort. Without trust and comfort, there can be no love and security. Honorable people say what they mean and mean what they say. Dishonorable people lie out of fear that they won't be loved and accepted or get what they want. Instead of trying to change a devious person, choose to associate with people whose innate nature is to do the right thing. Let's get into the first guy's email. He says, "Hey Corey, I found your online article about dating dishonest women extremely helpful and relevant, so I decided to get a more direct feedback on my current issue. Here's the problem. I'm 29. I've been in a relationship with a girl who's 24 for 3.5 years and been engaged for 1 year now. I love her a lot, and I never felt so great and connected with anyone before. Both of us come from a Russian background, and we currently live in the States. We've been in somewhat of a long-distance relationship, which is a 2-hour drive apart since I moved to do my PhD close by in a city. She lives with her parents, who are extremely traditional and strict, especially her mother. They do not allow her to sleep over until we get married." That's always fun. He says, "There have been some cases where she was allowed to either visit or sleep over at my parents' house when I visit, but it's always a huge deal and she gets long lectures from her parents. In many cases, she lies to them when she is with me and visits me during the day." Yeah, here's the thing. It's like some people just don't get, and I see this a lot. I used to mentor at-risk kids when I was in my late 20s. And the thing that I think a lot of parents don't understand is, like, kids get to be in their teenage years and they're so focused on trying to control their children and make them do what they want to do that it's like the child is no longer able to have an open, honest relationship and tell their parents what's really going on, because no matter what they say, they're going to get judged and they're going to get punished. And so what happens? Well, the child starts lying and deceiving the parents because he doesn't want the grief. And then the kid goes out and makes all kinds of mistakes, and it's like the child gets to be a teenager and the parents don't even know him anymore, because the child no longer feels comfortable coming to mom and dad and saying, "Hey, I got a problem, I got this, I got that." I mean, it's like, I love what Dr. Wayne Dyer said. He said, kids come through you, they don't come for you. And the interesting thing is that instead of having a great relationship, because at the end of the day, as a parent, it's like when a kid gets to be around like 12 years old and they really start expressing their own identity, the only thing you could really do at that point is give them advice and say, well, if you do this, here's the potential consequences and here's the potential benefits, and give them the option. It's like the analogy with a pot of boiling water on the stove. It's like, don't touch that. The kid pulls it down and obviously burns himself. And as a parent, you'd much rather have an honest relationship where the child's going to tell you everything, and you treat them as a trusted advisor, because especially getting in their teenage years, most of their time they're going to be away from you, especially like when they're with their friends or they're at school itself. And the best thing you can do is give them wisdom to help them make good, healthy decisions. But if you don't have a relationship with them at all, and they don't tell you anything, you can't even advise them, good or bad, on what to do. I mean, to me, that's just common sense, but you see it. It's like it starts out as a pattern when they're younger, and then they just end up deceiving their parents, and then the kids get in trouble, and the parents, like, they're just totally stunned that their child's doing all this stuff, and it's just because there's no honesty, there's no trust there. He says, she promised that she would move in with me once she finishes the university, which should have happened 6 months ago, but she keeps on retaking courses and staying in school longer. We talk every day, and we say and we text each other that we love each other every day. I caught her lying about small and not so small things before. we would have a fight, and then she would apologize, and life would go on. Eventually, I realized she's still emotionally immature, mostly due to the environment that she lives in, which is constant control, and she lies to her parents. Yeah, it's just she does it so callously and so casually with her family that she doesn't even think twice about lying to you. Because most of the time, obviously, it works out for her. And so she's emotionally been conditioned that it feels better to lie because she's avoiding pain. Because human beings will do more to avoid pain than they'll do to gain pleasure. And so for her, telling the truth is emotionally painful. So therefore, she lies and deceives because it doesn't create any drama, doesn't create any problems, unless, of course, she gets busted in the lie. He says in this that all this will be fixed when she moves out and she starts a grown-up life. I still told her that I wouldn't tolerate lying and would break up with her if she ever did. Well, it's like obviously she's been doing a lot of lying and you're still with her. So you're not being congruent with your words. You're bullshitting yourself here a little bit. Because you told her, I'm not going to tolerate this, and then she does it, and you're like, okay, I'll take you back. All's forgiven. He says, I am not a control freak, and I let her hang out with her girlfriends and whoever as long as everything is transparent. I like how I let her hang out. Like, she's not your possession, dude. She's not your dog that you can order around. I mean, because at the end of the day, if somebody's going to lie to you, if they're going to deceive you, if they're going to cheat on you, they're going to do it. And there's not a damn thing you can do about it. So the idea is give them enough rope to hang themselves. And if you see the true nature of who you're dealing with, you got to say, hey, look, this doesn't work for me. I can't deal with all this deviousness and this lying. Because at the end of the day, if the girl comes from a good family where she has a good relationship with her parents, this shit's not going to be going on. She's not going to be a liar. She's not going to be devious like this. And this is something, like I've talked about this before. I had a girlfriend, and she was like this. She was very devious by nature, and her parents were in their 60s, and they were still lying to each other. I mean, they've been together for like 40-something years. They have 4 kids, and they're still lying to each other and still keeping secrets from one another. Oh, don't tell so-and-so. And then they would try to involve me or things. One of them would tell me something in confidence. Oh, don't tell my wife. Or she'd tell me something. Oh, don't tell my husband. And it just puts you in an uncomfortable position. It's like, Jesus Christ, you've been together 40 fucking years and you can't tell the truth. It's absurd. So it's like, if her parents have been like that her whole life, how could I possibly think that she would ever change or be any different? And it's like, that never made me feel comfortable in the relationship because I caught her in enough lies. And it's like, once you see that pattern happen, it's not like every day, but it's like every couple of months something happens and she lies about it. But after a couple of years of this, it's like you get tired of it. You never feel comfortable. And if you don't feel comfortable, if you don't trust the person, you can't really love them because you just don't feel safe and comfortable in the relationship. You can't have an effortless relationship with somebody that you never know whether or not they're bullshitting you or lying to you. He says, things got really shitty in the last month or so, and when I came back from a couple of conferences overseas, I was out of touch with the internet. I suddenly discovered that she posted a series of photo shoots of her on Facebook while giving credits to different men for the shoots. I confronted her and why she did this behind my back, and she could have told me and asked me if I am okay with that, etc. In response, I get, well, I'm a model now and I run my own modeling agency, so there you go. He says, she promised to drop all of this when she moves in. Well, when someone says, I'm not a control freak, which you just said a few sentences ago, that tells me you're a control freak. And it's interesting. It's like women tend to date guys who are similar to their fathers. And obviously, you're a control freak. You're probably a lot like her father. And so, it's the same vibe, it's the same energy, and that's why she lies to you. And the reason you try to control her is really out of your own fear and insecurity of what you have to offer her. And when you do that with a woman like this, it's just one lie after another is going to pile up. And it's an unattractive quality when you act like you don't deserve to be with her to the point where you feel like you got to control her and give her permission to who she can and can't hang out with. That's ridiculous. He says, a few days later I visited her city and we spent time with my parents, but she has to cut it short because she has to be home early, some family issues. Yeah, if she was really crazy and head over heels in love with you and wanted to marry you, she'd make the time to see you. You got to look at that. He says, next day I found out that she went to some fashion show party / mixer. Everything is definitely not what it seems in this relationship. He says, that was a real punch in the nuts for me. I texted her that she's a disgusting liar and I will not let her do this, and we haven't talked for the last 2 weeks. Well, the strongest negotiating position is being able to walk away and mean it. You will never feel safe and comfortable in a relationship with a woman who's like this. You'll never be able to trust her. If you don't trust her, you can't really love her. It's just, I tried with a woman like that, and it's like, you can't fix that shit. He says, she always waits for me to call and initiate the making up part, but this time I don't want to because she completely broke my trust. And I wouldn't if I were you, because at the end of the day, it doesn't sound like she has any intention of changing her ways. And this tells me that you pretty much sounds like you're doing most of the pursuing in this relationship, and plus you're trying to control her, which is out of insecurity. And that tells me she's got a low level of attraction for you. It sounds like she's lining up a replacement if she hasn't already found one for you. He says, I think I made a huge mistake proposing to her so early. I've always been faithful, but now I started to meet a girl for coffee while we were on this break. Well, hey, you're not really together anymore at this point. And you did tell her that if you lie to me, I'm out of here. So the way I look at it is, if you're a man who's congruent with those words, then keep hanging out with this girl that you're having coffee with and see where it goes. Maybe she's an honest person. Because if you were an honest person, you wouldn't try to control them so much. They would tell you what's going on in their lives, and they wouldn't want to do anything to make you doubt their sincerity or their honesty. He says, please give me advice on how to proceed. Well, I'd walk and never look back. I mean, this chick has deceived you. I mean, this is a pretty short email, but that's a lot of deceiving in a short period of time. That's just the way she is. So keep dating the new girl, keep your options open, and move on with your life. That's what I would do if I were you. Because you're never going to be happy with someone like this. So let's get in the second guy's email. He says, hey, Coach, my girlfriend and I have been broken up for nearly 2 months now. We were in a 6-year relationship together. She's 27 and I'm 30. She started dating someone else immediately after we broke up, and although she doesn't want me to know who he is, I already know through a friend that it was someone who I met a few months ago. So she introduced you to him. He's just a friend. So this obviously was in the works before she ditched you, because a lot of women do that. They line up the replacement before they get rid of you. It makes it a lot easier to deal with a breakup when you got a backup plan or you got a replacement. He says she broke up with me and wanted to just be friends because she needed to figure herself out. It's so funny. It's like you wonder if there's like some secret book out there somewhere that all women read with the same bullshit excuses to give guys. I need to figure myself out. I gotta find myself. I'm not sure where I'm able to be at this point in my life right now. It's like if you've been watching my videos for a while, it's like you see the same kinds of excuses. These are women all over the world. Isn't it amazing how they say the same fucking thing when they're trying not to hurt your feelings? But at the end of the day, they're still ripping your heart out. He says she's trying to figure herself out and see if there are other options out there for her than what she already knew. Translation, I already got some options lined up, dude. So all I need to do is let's get this breakup over with so I can take care of those options that are waiting in the wings. It's amazing. It's like so she's not really lying to you. It's like she's telling you exactly what's going on. I want to see what other options are out there. That means, oh, I already got plenty of options lined up, dude. I mean, I'm excited about them too. He says that was her excuse, but the fact is we broke up because I got complacent and the relationship became stagnant. Well, typically like when I talk to guys, I do phone sessions. Well, a lot of times that none of them ever really look at, it's because the relationship ended not on your terms, but it was on her terms, is that at some point you stop putting your best foot forward. Now, why is that? That's something definitely to think about. Because if you stop putting your best foot forward, at some point you got bored. You weren't really that excited. You were no longer into her. And probably deep down you knew it should end. But like most people, a lot of people stay in relationships a lot longer than they should. And obviously that's probably what was going on here. And she knew it was on the verge of ending. Because anybody that's been in enough relationships, 2 or 3 relationships, you start to see it's like the same pattern, the same kinds of things start to happen. And she just happened to line up a replacement. You obviously had no replacements lined up. He says she got tired of waiting for change, so now I want her back. I did the things that I wasn't supposed to do, such as begging, pleading, and even talking to her mom. It's like, come on, man. It's been over a month since I had any contact with her because I realized that if I kept begging, it will only push her away further. Well, that's definitely true, because obviously you realize it hasn't worked. He says, especially when she wanted time and space. Yeah, it's not that she wanted time and space, she just wanted to date other people and didn't want to see you again. But it's like they throw that time and space out there. They give you like the false hope that, oh, maybe I'll come back to you if I don't find anybody better. So the best thing you can do at this point is nothing. Walk and never look back. She knows you love her and you want her back and all those things. Start dating some other women and get yourself some other options, because sitting around waiting on her it's not going to be healthy, and it's going to be a lot harder to get over her if you're still waiting for that phone to ring and see her phone number in there. But if she does reach out to you, assume it's because she wants to see you. Hey, babe, I'd love to see you when you're free to get together. And treat it like a first date. But at the end of the day, there's a good chance he's probably not going to come back. And at the end of the day, when guys like this get the girl back, 99% of the time, they don't stay with her. Within 3 to 6 months, they break up for good. Because they realize, they get the girl back, they thought, oh, it's the love of my life. And they go right back to that same pattern. You realize that everything that turned you off, that caused you to stop putting your best foot forward, that caused you to become complacent, those things are still there. They don't go away. It's not like she's going to change overnight. But for some guys, it gives them closure. The second time or the second breakup, then they realize, oh, okay, now I realize why I got turned off in the beginning. So let's get a third guy's email. This guy says, hey, Corey, thanks for the great book. I read it and I played the game by the rules, and I met a beautiful woman online. And we exchanged emails for 2 weeks, and we had our first date almost 8 weeks ago. Our first date was great. I took her to a restaurant. We had wonderful conversations, and I made her fully comfortable. So far, so good. He says, I could tell she was into me, and by the end of the date, I went for the kiss, and we both liked it. It's always nice when she sucks the tongue out of your throat. He says, I didn't message her for about 3 days and sent a text asking her how she was doing. Like, that's just such unnecessary BS. Just, hey, babe, I hope you're doing great. I'd love to see you again. When are you free to get together next? That's what I would text. She said she had a wonderful time, and I set it our next date. Well, so far, so good. I exceeded her expectations by being a fun and joyful guy. That tells me you're kind of in the I got to prove myself to her type of mentality. Nature's already taken care of the attraction. That's why she kissed you back, because she physically liked you. You didn't have to do anything other than be you, and that's why she liked you. But in your mind is telling you, I'm not good enough for this girl, and so therefore I got to have this really creative date. I got to talk. I've got to tell her really funny stories. I've got to jump through my butt in order to get her to impress her, because you've seen too many movies that show that bullshit. But you ignore the fact that she just liked you. Why? Because you did it for her. It's just the way it is. It's just a numbers game. Some women are going to really like you, and some are not. And what you're really looking for is chemistry. Chemistry between the two of you. Chemistry where you don't run out of things to talk about. Where if you start to run out of things to talk about, she carries the conversation for a while. And that makes you enthusiastic because you can see her enthusiasm to be with you. That's how you can have an effortless relationship. You can only have an effortless relationship when you have chemistry like that with someone. So if it's not there, don't try to force it. He says she was giving me all these signals while walking by and bumping into me. She'd hold my arm while walking, and we made out a lot from then on. She liked you, and you obviously were doing enough right that her attraction for you was growing. He says we really enjoyed each other's company, and she invited me to her place on the third date. We had lots of fun together. But did you have sex? She invited you over to her place. She was ready to roll. Most women sleep with a guy by the second or third date. That's just the statistical numbers. He says she met my friends the next week and they liked her and she liked them. She's not your girlfriend yet. That's your third date. Now you're introducing your friends. Too much, dude. Because too many things can go wrong with you bring friends and family in that early. It starts to feel like a relationship instead of just hanging out and having fun and hooking up. When she's head over heels in love with you, wants to be exclusive with you, then you can start hanging out and doing double dates and introducing them to your friends. But it's always better just to, for at least for the first couple of months, just the two of you. He says, we also agreed to date exclusively. I made her bring up the conversation. I stuck to my rules and showed her a great time and expected nothing in return. We met twice a week and I spent most weekends at her place and it was great. We stayed in a fancy hotel one weekend, and all this time I was giving her signals that I'm a confident masculine guy who knows what he wants in life. Good. He says, I'm also a guy who's looking for a long-term relationship. We talked a lot about what we want in life, what our plans are for the future, and we got to know each other a bit more. We were so happy, or so you thought. And when the moment was right, I asked her if she wants to be my girlfriend. And she happily agreed and said yes. Well, it's like, you're bringing this up. You're focused on the relationship. That is a no-no. Because you're doing too much too soon. At 3 weeks in, you're introducing to your friends and family. Shortly after that, you're asking her to be your girlfriend. You're the one that's moving this train along really fast here. He said, I met some of her close friends and we went for lunch. Now you're going to lunches. Gay male girlfriend kind of stuff. I felt I couldn't impress them as much as I wanted to. You're definitely trying to prove yourself. That comes from insecurity and fears and doubts about yourself, feeling like you got to prove yourself to this girl. It's a bad way to go, dude. He says, and she said, I didn't talk much, and it's important for her that I get along with her friends. That's why you want her to be in love with you. Because if she's just kind of in you, if her interest on a scale of 1 to 10 is like a 7, and you don't really jive with her friends, and they start talking shit about you, she's going to actually listen to what the friends have to say. But if she, on a scale of 1 to 10, she's a 9 for you, she's going to be like, don't talk about my man like that. And she's going to defend you. She's going to put you on a pedestal. He says, I told her that they were great and we should organize a get-together for dinner next time. Oh, well, give me another chance to prove myself to them, please, Your Highness. He says, and she agreed. We talk and text almost every day, talking too much on the phone. That's another no-no, dude. Remember, it's a scientific fact that women are more attracted to men whose feelings are unclear. So now you're talking to her a lot because you feel like you got to prove yourself to her. It's too much. She never has any time and space away from you. So you're probably starting to make this girl feel like she's smothered. She said she liked talking and spending time with me. I also surprised her with flowers and chocolates once, and she was very happy. Now you're buying her gifts, bribes for sex and bribes for a relationship. One landmine after another, dude. You are stepping in it. He says, I could tell she likes me as much as I like her, and she was considerate and accommodative. And then he says, tragedy. This week, one evening, we spoke over the phone, and I canceled our date as I had a hectic work schedule, and we agreed to meet over the weekend. On Wednesday, she called me in the evening, and she said with a serious voice, we need to talk about something. Uh-oh, not good. He says she said it was not working out, and she feels we have nothing in common, blah, blah, blah. See? What was I saying? I'm like psychic like that. I haven't even read this email yet, and I could tell about where it was going to end up. Isn't that amazing? He says, I was in total shock. Well, I'm not. This is totally predictable, and I was pointing it all out the whole way. It's like a slow motion train wreck that you can kind of see coming. I saw that commercial for a new Infiniti, and it has this system that's supposed to be able to like scan like 2-3 cars ahead and see if there's an accident, and it'll make you slow down. So it's kind of like that. He says, I feel the exact opposite, and told her we have a lot in common. Oh, now you're using logic and reason to try to get her to change her mind when she emotionally just ain't feeling it. And I wonder why she feels that way. Well, you said you read my book. It's like you saw what you wanted to see. Cognitive dissonance. He says she also said she wanted to talk about this all the time, but she never got a chance. You've definitely been rushing things. He says, maybe because I impressed her in every possible way and I overruled her instincts. I think you were bullshitting yourself, dude. You saw what you wanted to see. And you were projecting your fantasy onto her and not really paying attention to how she really felt about you. He says, I sent her a message later asking, we need to talk in person and not end it over the phone as we had a great thing going. Well, you thought it was a great thing. Obviously, she didn't think it was so great. That's why she didn't really care about doing it in person. He says she didn't agree to meet. Yeah, she knew it would be just a bunch of drama because you're going to like use your best sales pitch on her. and is an emotional thing for her. She just ain't feeling it. It's a scientific fact that women are more attracted to men whose feelings are unclear. And you rushed her into a relationship because you were trying to lock her down because deep down you didn't feel like you deserved her. This woman liked you. Mother Nature had taken care of that. It was all perfect. And by you focusing on the relationship and locking her down, you totally screwed it up. He says, I just called her twice after our breakup conversation. She didn't pick up. I sent 4 or 5 messages, which she responded that she was sorry and we're done. Oof. Yeah, she felt nothing for you. It's like her interest was going down and yours was going. He says, I found out yesterday she's back on the dating website and I wonder when she reactivated her profile. Probably the moment she dumped your ass. He says, I'm going to stick with the rules by giving her time and space. What else can I do? Walk and never look back. Start dating other women. And don't do this shit again. Don't be in such a rush to lock a girl down to a commitment. Because this will happen every single time. He says, I'm allowing her to get back to me. Somehow I feel she already is dating someone else, probably, or going to meet someone this weekend. I'm deeply hurt and surprised, and I want her back, Corey. She was great in every possible way, and I miss her so much. Please help me win her back. Again, you don't have nothing to prove this. It's like you're in the mindset, I got to prove myself to her. That didn't work. That got you fucking rejected. And you're like, Corey, how can I do more of what got me rejected? It's like, come on, man. So the only thing you can do at this point is walk and never look back. If she ever reaches out to you again, hey babe, I'd love to see you when you're free to get together. Invite her over to your place, hang out, have fun, and hook up at your place. That's the only thing you could do. And you got to think of it as like the first date. You're starting completely over. Everything that you did with her, none of that shit matters. And next time around, follow what I teach in my book. So let's get in the 4th and final email. This guy says, hey Corey, thanks for all your videos and I have a little issue to tell. I'm in a long distance relationship for about 2 years and we really bonded well and everything happened and was magical. I really love this girl and she would visit me and I visited her and things were lovely as it seemed. I started to notice flaky and vague behavior from her. She didn't lie directly but was just telling me the boyfriend-friendly versions of events. So I tried to speak to her, but she would get hurt and bring up trust or paranoia. She said she loved me and would never hurt me, and if I think bad things, it pushes us apart. See, she's trying to help you. She's saying, don't act like a needy, insecure jackass. You're turning me off because you're acting like you don't deserve to be with me. That's what she's saying to you. He says, I took her word for it, but over time some small vague behavior carried on and I would mention it and she would say, I'm paranoid again, but although I didn't have no proof, things didn't always seem clear about her actions and what she said she was doing. You're presupposing that she's going to deceive you because you don't think you deserve her. And so you're just focused on that and you're hovering on that same negative outlook. And it's driving her nuts. She told you, you're pushing me away by your behavior. He says, I'm stuck in a cycle of her doing something vague which alerts me, so I ask questions and she brings up trust or paranoia. Or another thing I noticed is she would manipulate me complaining of her vagueness into me defending my love for her. You sound like a woman. You're acting like the woman and she's acting like the man. Look at some old movies from 40, 50 years ago. You act exactly like the women in those movies. He says, like she would quickly say, maybe I don't love her, and it would then be me saying, yeah, I do, and so on. Spotlight off the vagueness type of thing. Yeah, her attraction level is a lot lower in you than yours is in her. He says, I don't want to split up with her. What you fear you attract. That's what you're focusing on, and guess what? That's what you're in the process of making happen. But I don't know if I'm paranoid or not. What if I'm wrong and I lose that special girl? You got to be willing to lose her. You got to be willing to let her walk away because that might actually happen. How can I handle paranoia in this situation? I mean, at the end of the day, this girl obviously liked you enough to go out with you, but because you're acting in a way that you're not trusting this person, I mean, think about it. She's just trying to hang out and have some fun with you, and she's giving you the opportunity to do the right thing. She's telling you what to do, but it's like you're just stuck on, you're going to cheat on me, you're going to ditch me, you're going to get rid of me, I know you're not going to love me, and eventually, this is what you're making happen. You were literally driving this girl away from you. It's like, obviously, I don't think you realize it, but that's what's happening, dude. I mean, act as if. Think about this. How would you act as if you knew you could not fail? What would you do? What would you say? And say exactly what happened. Say you catch her in a big lie, or you catch her with another dude. Then you know she's a liar. Then you know that, hey, you were wrong about her. Great. Now you know that she's not the right girl for you. Then you move on. You keep looking until you find the next girl. That's the way you got to look at it. But if you're always focused on every single woman that you date and you really like is going to cheat on you or jerk you around, and you act this way, women don't like it when a guy constantly questions them and doesn't trust them. Like I said, she's telling you you're driving her away with your behavior. He says, I suspected she loved me but still wanted fun but didn't want anybody else to have me. So if I were you, it's like you need to cut this behavior out ASAP. Otherwise, you're going to drive this girl away and she just simply ain't going to want anything to do with you. So if you'd like to get my help personally, the quickest way is to book a paid phone coaching session. You can do that by going to my website, clicking the products tab at the top of your screen, and just follow the instructions. And I will talk to you soon.